Welcome, everyone. As our hosts are getting ready, I just thought I'd take a minute to just welcome you all. This is our first chat for the year, so I'm looking forward to it. Feel free to unmute and say hi as we are waiting for our host to come in.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, just introduce yourself.
It's Tino here.
Oh, my man. How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Awesome, man.
It's great. It's great.
So yeah, Tino is one of the products of the group. He came into the group and basically you kind of learned and certified and got your job in this group, eh, Tino?
Yes. I am a product.
You're a veteran now, eh? I think it was 2019 when you joined.
Yeah, it was 2019 when I joined, yeah, but I wouldn't call myself a veteran, but I'm learning from the best.
I see you've got Mr. Mokale online. Hi there. Another veteran.
Hey, fellas, how's it going?
Good, man. Good to hear from you. Good to see you again.
You hear me?
Loud and clear.
Yeah, same here.
All right, cool. Hi, Phyllis.
Good evening. How are you, Mr. Teka?
Good, how are you?
I'm okay. I think we can give our attendees 3 more minutes, then we can start maybe at 3 past.
All right, cool. I allowed everyone to just unmute and introduce themselves for now, while we're waiting for people to join. So yeah, anybody who's willing to, unmute themselves, introduce, ask a question while we're waiting for the team for the room to fill up.
Can I start? Oh, there's someone else already. Okay. Guys, my name is Taka, but you can't see me because I'm in dark now. We've got load shedding. Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Go ahead.
We can see you. We can see you. Switch on that. Yeah. Switch on that. We can see you.
Let me just switch it off. Yeah. By the way, yeah, like I said, my name is Tak, and then I've got a cloud practitioner. I'm looking forward to write associates soon. So awesome. I've never worked on AWS before, but I mean I'm pushing on my own. When I get the spare time, then I just study, and then yeah, hoping for the best. Maybe if I got associates.
Fantastic. You can learn a lot from Tino. He comes from that route.
Is it? Okay, we must look up. You must hook me up with Tio.
All right, awesome, man. And keep us posted with your journey, and then when you do make it, just let us know. We like to hear about other people's success stories.
Okay, Roger that.
All right, Phyllis, the reins are yours. I'm gonna go off video and mute myself.
Okay, thank you. Okay, it looks like we have 44 people, and we are happy to have each and every one of you with us tonight. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our first Mzansi AWS virtual meetup for 2023. So while we are still in Q1, we decided that it's very important that we start with a motivation session of why it's important to continuously learn about AWS. A testament to that is the panel which we have today of seasoned AWS engineers who are going to share with us about their on-the-job experience working with AWS. Just a note, this is going to be done without diverging any information about the organization's they actually work for. And in that same spirit, we kindly request everyone, when we get to our question and answer session, please stay clear of mentioning any company names. The way we are going to do our session today is we'll allow all of our speakers to go through what they've prepared to share with us. Then we'll answer questions from the floor at the end. You are welcome to post any questions in the chat during the presentations. As an icebreaker, I'll start by giving you a day in my work life. This will just be a glimpse of what you'll be hearing from our panel today. So my name is Phyllis Tarisai Madala, and I'm also your host today. I work as a platform engineer, which is a role intertwined with that of a cloud development support engineer. My day at work, it's never the same as the previous one. At a high level, I help other AWS engineers with technical issues they encounter during the designing, provisioning, and execution of their infrastructure. This is the best and worst job you can have in AWS. It's the best in that you are constantly challenged and you become best friends with Google and the new ChatGPT, as everyone expects you to help them promptly and efficiently. It's the worst in that every day you are reminded you haven't made it yet. You still have so much to learn on top of what you think you already know to be a lot. So the advantage of this community is we are building a group of individuals whom you can reach out to at any point in time, as we have specialists and subject matter as experts on some of these 200 plus AWS services. After all, no one person can know so much. So it's very important that you keep yourself engaged. We shall share with you at the end of the session some of our group links and our meetup links, where you are welcome to always ask questions. And also, I keep repeating, without diverging your company information. We don't want people to get fired. So our first presenter for today, it's going to be Toko. I'll allow her to introduce herself fully. I won't say anything about her. Toko, you can take over from me.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Toko Matendra, and I'm not going to go very deep into presenting a lot of PowerPoint stuff, but just a high-level overview of what a DevSecOps engineer does is basically ensuring that with every automation that the guidelines are followed in terms of security. So when looking at the well-architected framework from AWS, there's a security pillar on them, which largely speaks to how you should implement your guardrails. And this is something that with automation at times, you might overlook because you're just trying to make sure that you automate everything and get things done as fast as possible. And when you then start to integrate the concept of security, it allows you to be able to just avoid issues where you configure your infrastructure incorrectly, where you open up, for example, S3 buckets and also give overly permissive permissions to your IAM roles. And this is a role that for me, I enjoy very much because I get to not only be able to work with the greatest technology that is out there at the moment to, increase the productivity, where you are able to deploy things at a faster pace, but being able to do so in a manner that protects the infrastructure from anyone, doing things that they're not supposed to do. I think we've seen the likes of some incidents that have happened in the industry where, misconfigurations are the biggest cause of people getting hacked or anything happening. So through using proper security guardrails, especially when you are automating your processes, it definitely does allow you to be able to make sure that you do not wake up the next morning and you are headline news because you configured something incorrectly. So I think that's about much that I have to say about that. Feel free to ask any questions on the topic, and I'll be more than happy to respond to them in the chat as well.
Thank you so much, Togo. Maybe you sold yourself short here. I'll just ask you one question before we move on to the next speaker. I think in this room you are, I don't know about in the audience, but for the people I specifically know, I think you have the highest number of certifications, if not 20 or more. Can you maybe briefly speak to the audience about how your certifications have helped you on the job?
Okay, they've helped me greatly because the certifications have allowed me to be able to understand the real life scenarios of the theory that we learn about from the public documentation. And it does question your understanding of the services, because I think the biggest thing that I've seen in the industry is people questioning, are certifications important? They are. With application, they definitely are. You have to make sure that you understand, you know, every service that you decide that you're going to certify in. And I've been enjoying doing them because I've learned so much. I'm not good at everything, but at least I do know that there are specific areas where my knowledge is quite proficient in the services that AWS does provide in terms of security.
Okay, thank you so much for that. I think everyone, you have heard yourself, certifications do help you as you study for them and prepare. You get to learn also stuff beyond what you meet at work. Thank you so much, Togo. For those who have questions for you regarding cloud security, you can post in the chat. For detailed explanations, we'll also go through some of those questions at the end of the session so that we do not overdo it on one item. Our next speaker is going to be Yuman.
Hello. Thanks, Phyllis. Thanks for the invite. Hello, everyone. So yeah, I've known Phyllis. I felt like I've known her for about 10 years, but I've actually known her for about a year and a half. We work together. So yeah, but thanks for the opportunity, Phyllis. Just a bit about myself. So I'm currently a cloud engineer / platform engineer. Some background, I come from a heavy Microsoft infrastructure and networking background, basically physical stuff, you know, data centers, all of that stuff. And about 4 years ago, I got the opportunity to actually move to a company that's working in the cloud. And it was this year before I knew about AWS. And about 3 years ago, I got the opportunity to start with AWS, and I hated it at first because I come from Azure and I didn't understand why everyone loves it, but trust me, I do understand now and I love it myself. So yeah, it's been a great journey. Just some of my day-to-day stuff that we are currently doing. I'm in a unique opportunity where we're actually doing a lift and shift to the cloud from an on-prem data center. And so we got the opportunity to move stuff to the cloud and try out new services. I think we go with the motto of fail and fail fast. If you fail with something, you know, push it aside, try the next thing. And I mean, there's so many stuff in AWS that you can use. So I think it's unique that we are really pushing the boundary of what we are learning and what we are working with. And just some other stuff that we're dealing with. I work closely with the architects in the organization as well, where we are looking at services. We need to make decisions fast, and it's always difficult because there's a lot out there that you can choose from. So yeah, there's so many things to factor. There's security, there's failover, there's data retention, there's scalability, there's cost, and there's monitoring that you have to always consider. So if you are looking, obviously I see a lot of people, or not a few people, say they're not into AWS yet, but I think something that I can give my advice that I've seen over the years of working, not just in AWS, but just, you know, in general in the IT industry, is that if you want to learn monitoring or put a lot of effort into monitoring, I've built a lot of solutions, and then when I present it to my manager, he says, okay, but how can I monitor it? And then you're like, okay, I haven't got there yet. And then, you know, that's what they want to learn, or they want to see. And that's the data that your manager wants to see. So when building a solution or looking at designs and all of that type of thing, start with monitoring as well. Make sure that what you're building, you're able to present to your manager in the form of a dashboard and alerting and costs and all of that comes with it. It'll give you a bit of brownie points with your manager as well, or whoever you report to, because they love seeing that data. So just consider that when you're building stuff in AWS. We're busy also heavily with API Gateway at the moment. So if there is anyone out there that's kind of an expert in API Gateway, do hit me up. I need some help as well. Like, I don't know everything. So, but yeah, that's me. And yeah, that's basically day to day, is helping developers and the business move stuff currently to the cloud.
Thank you so much, Human. I have one question for you, but you have already sort of showed off, because I was going to ask you, like, when I previously talked to you, we didn't know anything about monitoring. So this sort of drives at the question I have for you. Our IT world is ever evolving, and the narrative out there is cloud jobs are an opportunity to continuously learn. So what skills have you developed, let's say, in the past 3 months due to on-the-job exposure? Of course, you can tell us without diverging your company's actual information, you know, just on a high level, like 3 months ago, what didn't you know, what you know now on the cloud?
I think if I can talk about a project that we're busy with now and how important, if I'm going back to monitoring, but we're currently looking or exploring crossplane. I'm not sure how familiar everyone is with crossplane, but we're basically trying to self-service our employees or our developers to be able to spin up resources in AWS, instead of, you know, everyone spinning up API Gateway or EC2 instance within their own team. We've developed a team that we are trying to automate the experience for the user. So we're looking at crossplane, where crossplane actually runs on top of Kubernetes inside inside AWS, where you use crossplane. And if people are familiar with Terraform, crossplane is similar, but it's more granular in terms of how you can manage your resources. And your resource is actually monitored within the EKS cluster. And on top of that, we're looking at plugging in Backstage on top of this, where then you get a front end where you can actually monitor your resources.
Sorry, Human. I think we need to do a Human session. This is a lot of information. So sorry, in like the vibe I'm getting here is it's a lot of monitoring and self-enablement.
Yeah, so we're basically looking at self-enabling our users through exposing stuff from the API of AWS. So yeah, sorry, I went a bit off topic there, but yeah.
Now,
so
I'm
that's what
you because of my time. I'm being
I understand.
But the beauty of what we are doing here is you are welcome to go do like a deep dive into one of those interesting concepts you're learning about and come back and be awesome for all of us and teach us, you know. Thank you so much for what you have shared. So from our audience, as you can realize, Human came from a different set of development experience and what word am I looking for? Technology. And in 3 years' time, he has become an awesome engineer. He's one of the few people I reach out to when I have difficulties with some work things, some certain AWS services, like he says, is awesome at API Gateway. So this is a contact to jot down in a corner as well. Thank you so much, Human, for that. Anyone with questions for Yuman, pop them in the chat. We will also go through them at the end. Our next speaker is Mohadi. Mohadi, you can unmute and ban us.
Okay, thanks, Phyllis. Yes, my name is Mohadi Mavapa, and I'm a DevOps engineer. And DevOps simply is just a fancy way of saying you get to do software development and also you get to do IT operations. So typically on daily basis, I develop software, I test software, I deploy software, and I maintain software. And that also include developing, testing, and deploying infrastructure. And I got myself, involved with AWS some time back. I think it was in 2012 when I started getting my hands dirty with EC2 and so on, coming from on-premises stuff where we're doing Hyper-V and so on, and now getting myself with I'm busy with EC2 and so on. And typically on daily basis, what I do, I write code, but on top of that, as an IT operational guy, I also use CloudWatch and Athena for monitoring the behavior of the software, of the applications, the performance, the usage, and so on and so forth, because we get to push all this information into AWS, CloudWatch, and S3. And also on daily basis, as a DevOps guy, I also use Code Deploy to deploy the applications that I develop. And as a developer, I also tend to like these serverless services on AWS like Lambda, API Gateway, ECS, SQS, Step Functions, DynamoDB, and so on. Those allows us as developers to innovate quickly without incurring any upfront cost or a lot of configuration upfront. And yeah, so I'm certified with solution architect, and like I said, on daily basis I write code, but I also make sure that I maintain the infrastructure and develop infrastructure using stuff like infrastructure code, things like Terraform and CloudFormations and AWS CDK. And yeah, that's in short what I do, Phyllis.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Mohadi. I think when Yuman spoke and I also spoke, we mentioned that we are platform engineers and Mohadi is a DevOps engineer. There is sort of an overlap between those two roles, and I'm sure some are already curious, like what's the difference? I'm going to paste for you in the chat a link to someone's profile or rather post who detailed the difference between a DevOps engineer and a platform engineer. So this can also help you direct your learning path on AWS. A DevOps engineer mainly focuses on software development, automation, integration, and IT operations, while a platform engineer is more focused on designing, implementing, and managing the actual underlying infrastructure and platforms to support applications. So on a high level, that's the difference between the two. Before we let Mohadi go, I just have one question for you. So which DevOps tools do you think are a must-have to make it as an AWS DevOps engineer? And also maybe a programming language. We always hear scripting for DevOps engineer. Maybe you have a point for us there.
Yes, yes. As a DevOps engineer, from the development side, obviously you need to know some of the languages and frameworks, such as general purpose languages such as C#, Python, Java, and so on. And also one of the front-end frameworks such as Bootstrap, Foundation, stuff like JavaScript frameworks such as Vue.js, React, Angular, and so on. And of course, for infrastructure development, you need to learn stuff like Terraform, AWS CloudFormation, CDK, and there's a little bit more on that. I mean, the reason for this is to knowing at least one of these things is because, like, for instance, if you know Terraform or CloudFormation, you are able to switch to other infrastructure as a code languages and so on. Like if you know C# on a general purpose languages, you can. I mean, if you know the concept, it's easier to also learn stuff in Java and Python and so on. So you sort of need to know at least one of these things like in deep details, and then the rest will just follow. So it's very important to look at in a wider range.
Okay.
To DevOps engineer.
Thank you so much. You've heard it for yourselves, folks. Just being AWS certified DevOps engineer is not enough to call yourself a DevOps engineer. There is so much more which you need to learn. Yeah, you can check out some of those links which are going to be shared in the chat that will help you. That's one of the hottest jobs on the market. Before we give the floor to our next speaker, Tino Tenda. Tino is cloud architect. There is a common misconception that the moment you write the cloud architect solution associate set, you are now an AWS cloud architect. No. Personally, for me, after the cloud practitioner, that's the next entry level certification which you can do to educate yourself about AWS. You are not yet a full architect. Okay, Tino, you can take over.
I'm not sure how to introduce myself now, since you just said I'm not a solutions architect.
No, you can repeat, it's fine. Very nice.
Anyways, hello everyone. So my name is Tino Tenda Makombe. I work for a select tier AWS partner as a solutions architect. So our company is a SaaS platform, and it also offers AWS consulting services. So in my role, I manage our multiple accounts, and we primarily use Control Tower to manage these accounts. I'm also responsible for monitoring our platforms and providing architectural advice to our developers. And as an AWS partner, we're also required to have foundational technical reviews in all the other programs that are provided. So I work with our developers to make sure that we are well architected. And also I'm client facing, so I speak to clients working on that and help them on their cloud transformation journey. Yeah, that's me.
Okay, I think because your role involves a lot of designs, you don't want to tell us the nitty-gritties, you don't want to get fired, but on the same note, of course, without diverging that, maybe you can tell us what was your very first architecture design, and maybe on a high level, what services did you incorporate in that design, also aligning with the legendary 6 pillars of the well-architected framework?
Okay, my very first architecture, it was a PHP application that was supposed to be available in 3 continents. I want to say 3 countries, but I cannot divulge that. It was supposed to be available in 3 continents, and the services I used primarily was Route 53, EC2, RDS. We had some machine learning, so I used SageMaker and application load balancers and Amazon Elasticache. Yeah, that's as far as I remember, that was my first architecture. It was quite exciting. I think I got a lot of advice from the people here in this meeting. You know, it's great to know that there's always help when you need it.
Awesome. Thank you, Tino. So people with questions about architecting on AWS, you can also reach out to Tino. We are sharing profiles of our presenters in the chat. Before I move on to our last technical speaker, I see we have Lucian in the chat. Lucian, can you hear me? If you want to unmute.
I can unmute, but I had
you.
like a spoonful of food in my mouth. How are you doing, Phyllis?
I'm okay. So as a slight detour from our agenda, Lucian is one of my mentors. When I started my AWS journey, he helped me a lot, and it was very difficult for me to translate the information he was giving me because he knows so much. So I don't know, Lucian, I have like 2 minutes if you just want to break to us about working on AWS.
Sure. So my current role is I'm a consulting AWS practice manager. So what that means is for my consulting firm, I head up the AWS team, and I still consult to a financial customer as a lead platform engineer. So we primarily we use on-premise and in AWS, so we're hybrid. There's specific reasons why we can't move some of the stack across. I started back in 2017, 2018. I joined a cloud startup as an engineer, and it's been a really long journey since. I hold 4 certifications in AWS. I think one has expired already. So I need to catch up to Phyllis there because she's mentoring me there on the certifications. And yeah, specifically my day-to-day is working with customers and building their Kubernetes clusters. And I primarily focus and manage that. So I'm a platform engineer. I use a lot of DevOps tooling and technology, specifically mostly around Terraform and Kubernetes itself. And yeah, specifically, it's I do believe in certifications, but I strongly believe in building. And the best way that how I learned was the AWS workshops. You get an AWS account, you hopefully use your employer's account so it doesn't burn your credit card, and you fail really fast and you go from there. But yeah, that's me in a nutshell. Feel free to reach out, connect, ask questions, and all of that jazz. And thank you for mentioning me.
Thank you so much, Lucian. Lucian is awesome at EKS. You see every job advert now somewhere along the skills expected of you is EKS. So he's a nice contact to keep and always ready to help. So I'm just mentioning some of these people, guys, so that you go follow them on LinkedIn, and when life really gets hard at work, you can ping them. They are community builders. So they have no option. They have to help you. They signed up for this. So thank you, Lucian. My final speaker is Selo Teka. Selo is the guy who initially hosted this for us before we decided women are the next generation of leaders. So Mr. Teka, I humbly ask you to bless us with your speech.
Hi, everyone. And Phyllis, thanks for hosting us today. Yeah, I think I hosted almost every month last year, or for a couple of years. So I needed some help, and Phyllis, nicely offered to take over and keep the group going. So yeah, this is how we're kicking off the year. My name is Lotseka. I'm a solution architect. I work at AWS. I'm at the AWS office in Waterfall. I hope to actually host some of these sessions in person here at our office. I will supply the pizza and the cool drink. I know South Africans love their cool drink and pizza. So my job, just a bit of background about me. I have 20 plus years of experience in IT. One of the people I introduced to the industry is Phyllis when she graduated in 2015. We sat there in Standard Bank at the coffee shop, and then I asked her if she can code. She said, "I don't know how to code, but I work hard. I'm smart." And then she had
We agreed no
maths
more
degree.
roasting me in public, Mr. Teka. Can you go into your presentation?
Okay. I'll stop. But she had a a good maths degree and analytics, and look where we are now. I mean, 7 years later, and she's hosting me. So, I mean, if you want to see what technology can do for you in your life, you must just ask Phyllis. Tino joined this group in 2019 and did practitioner here and did solution architects here, and met. I think he even met people through this forum when he got his first job, and I've seen so much growth. A lot of people met their employers in using this forum. So I encourage you to take the platform and talk about what you have learned. You don't have to be an expert in everything, but whatever you have grasped on this forum, share it. Personally, I'm strong in development because I've coded for most of my life. And I will be presenting some of my, combining my AWS experience now with development. I'll be running some sessions later this year, just to show you what it means when you transition from a developer to from a developer to a cloud developer, and what does that mean. So yeah, looking forward to hosting you in another session as we go forward. Any questions, type into the chat. I'll be happy to take them.
Okay, Mr. Teka, your first question is going to be from me. So seeing you are in an enterprise architect position, which also makes you a technical recruiter and an interviewer. I've always got this one question. What happens to me in an interview when I'm asked something which I don't know? For example, I'm coming from a small company which doesn't do all those fancy AWS services like guardrails, which Toko was talking about. I'm being asked about a transit gateway. I don't know what that is. What do I say in the interview? Okay,
I'm going to share a link in the chat. All right, it's a public link. If you are ever lucky enough to actually get interviewed for a job at AWS, we would give you this link to prepare. If you can open it, you'll find a section where we talk about STAR. Okay. And STAR is a well-documented way of handling a question in an interview. So if you practice to answer questions with STAR, even in cases where you don't know how to answer, you will be able to actually give an answer. So it's situation, task, action, result. All right. So if I ask you, like, have you ever used guardrails, and you haven't, but you are not sure what are guardrails. Let's say you've never come across them, as Phyllis is saying. You have two options. All right. You can tap out of the question. All right. And there's nothing wrong with tapping out. All right. But before you tap out, you can actually go back with a question, just so that you can answer with something close to it. So they're saying guardrails, and guard sounds like it's got to do with security, right? You can just say, is it by any chance having to do with IAM? And the interviewer might say, yes, it's IAM, but more. All right. And then you can then go back to your comfort zone and say, well, as far as I'm aware, I have used IAM to create roles, policies, and groups, all right? And I've used it to actually give access to my EC2 instances. That's as far as I know about security on AWS, but I have not worked with guardrails. Now, you have not completely tapped out of it. You have not said, no, I've not heard about guardrails, but I'm willing to learn about it, which there's nothing wrong with, but you have actually gone back with a rethought to say, actually, is it in line with something I've done before, which is this? If it is, this is what I've done. I hope it makes sense. So instead of I've seen a lot of people just tap out, but sometimes you actually might know, like, let me give you another example. I might ask you about Transit Gateway, and you might have not used it, but maybe you have used VPC peering, and you can say, no, I've not used Transit Gateway, but I've used VPC peering, and this is how I've used it, but I'm willing to actually learn about Transit Gateway if that is what you use. It's a nice way of saying, I don't know, but this is what I know. That's a more graceful way of handling a question you don't know anything about. Lucian has a question for me. Lucian, I'm not interviewing for a job at AWS.
Well, I actually worked at AWS last year, and I was also an interviewer. I just wanted to add to your point, Selo, specifically around the R in STAR, and specifically around results. Specifically, it's to have data points, and this really sets you apart when you're interviewing, is to actually say what were the results from the situation, task, and action. So you increased development time by 40%. You lowered cost by $10,000. You have specific data points instead of a lot of time or quite a bit of money. Specifically, that really sets you apart, because that data really sets you from being an entry-level interviewer to someone that can really raise the bar. And I just wanted to just add to that point. I found that I got that advice before I interviewed, and it was super valuable for me landing the role in AWS ProServe in JNB12, where you're currently working now.
Yeah, Lucian, I mean, we've worked together in the past, but I just didn't want to.
We have.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you, Lucian and Selo. So before I open the floor for people to unmute themselves and ask questions, I just want to put this out there. So our group motto is docendo discimus. This is a Latin phrase which actually means by teaching, you also learn. To this point, this is a safe space for each and every one of you to develop your technical skills, as well as learn how to speak to an audience. Our goal in this group is to develop a large group of community builders. I'm going to put a link in the chat of what are AWS community builders. We have a lot of community builders in our group. So we want everyone to be recognized as a community builder. So we encourage everyone to reach out to any of our group leaders. We will share with you their names. So there are a lot of leaders in this group, and if you are awesome and you engage, you can also become a leader. The purpose of us having so many leaders is we don't want to create a bottleneck where we wait for one person to get things going. We want to be a self-sustaining community. So if you have something which you want to present, a blog which you have written and you want to broadcast, we encourage you to share it with us so that we can also reshare it on your behalf and it reaches a broader community. So also, please note, everything which we do here is purely voluntary. Do not pay anyone. This is for free. We are sharing information for free. So you can start fighting for your presence. Let's give each other an opportunity to talk. We still have 20 minutes. Yeah, you can give it a go, guys. I'll put links to our WhatsApp group as well as to the community building program so that you guys can start working towards become AWS community builders as well. Thank you. Anyone with a question? Yes.
Can I take a question from the chat.
Sure, you can.
Yeah, so I responded to it with in the chat, but I will actually it was Pinui, and she says, please, are there various ways of getting enough practical hands-on experience before getting into the job market? And the answer is yes. So one of the most reliable way of actually demonstrating your skill is by contributing to an open source project. And I've had a couple of guys who have presented, and they speak about how after contributing to open source projects, they have been hired from their contributions. So I think we can actually make this a point that one of the people you can host is somebody who's contributing to the Kubernetes code base, and he can explain how you can get started contributing to the Kubernetes code base. But it would mean that you have to upskill in a language like Go for Kubernetes, or Scalar if you're doing something on the analytics side or whatever it is. So try to find an open source project that you can contribute to. That's a good way, because then you can reference it from your CV. You can actually put a link to your GitHub repo, and people can actually see your work.
Awesome, thank you. I'm going to answer one question which is in the chat. Can I get an AWS cloud engineer job without any industry experience? Yes, you can. The trick to landing an AWS cloud engineer job without experience is to learn about AWS cloud and get at least the cloud practitioner or the solution architect associate set. That way you are demonstrating that you have a basic understanding of AWS cloud, and you can land an entry-level cloud engineer role. There is another question.
Yeah, I just wanted to take a step at a question that I saw here from Chris. So he says, what do you guys think about the 3-month AWS Restart program? I am a Restart trainer, certified, and I have worked. I've done programs for the Restart, and I say it is a very good. It's a very good program. You get to learn about Linux. You get to learn about Python. You get to learn about AWS. And yeah, I have seen people get jobs after the Restart program. And yes, so yeah, it is a very good program. If you get a chance, you can join us.
Thank you so much, Tino. Is it wise to get a solution architect certificate, then follow up with the cloud practitioner? It's the other way around. The cloud practitioner is the easiest one. It's the most basic one. So you start with that one. Okay, I'm just scrolling for another question in here. So there's a question which says, I'm a C# developer and would like to get into integration space. I need a mentor. I suggest you join our WhatsApp group. We are starting an initiative where we want to pair up people who are willing to become mentors for venturing into AWS. So on that note, I'm also calling to all senior people which we have in this group right now. Can you kindly please reach out if you are willing to mentor someone, if you are willing to give back to the community. And also, if you get selected and get partnered with someone to be mentored, we want people who see things through. So it's a non-written contract. If we give you the opportunity to get a mentor, please maximize it so that you also become a mentor someday to someone else. So just watch our WhatsApp space that is coming soon. Thank you. Okay. Can't see any other question in here. You guys are welcome to unmute and ask your questions as well.
Oh, hello guys.
Oh, sorry, Apiwe.
Okay.
You can go.
Oh, okay. My name is Apiwe from Cape Town. I just have one question. A short intro. I've worked as an AWS cloud security engineer as a contractor for Ozo in Cape Town. I've trained on cloud practitioner and I'm now currently training on infrastructure automation with Terraform. So my question is, to land that one job, like for instance, a DevOps engineer position, what are the courses or let me say training can I take to follow up on that infrastructure automation with Terraform course? Or let me say, is it a necessity, or should I just write that cloud practitioner exam? Because I haven't written it yet. On it.
Mohadi, do you want to take that since you're the DevOps guy?
Sorry, I was doing something on the side. I missed the question. Sorry.
All right, no problem. So he was asking how does he go from his current role into a DevOps role? And he's asking if he should follow the formal AWS channel of cloud practitioner, maybe developer, maybe, I don't know, end up at DevOps, or should he go straight for Terraform certification?
Yeah, I mean, if you're a developer and you want to go into the AWS space, it is always advisable to start with the cloud practitioner, because it gives you the entry level into all the concepts and what AWS is all about. At least you get the basics, and thereafter you can like we've got these meetups and everything. I mean, if you are part of this and you get to listen to people speaking about different services and so on, and presentations. But and also what I encourage people to do, which requires a little bit of someone being careful, is that you could also provision your own personal account on AWS. It's got a lot of perks with the free tier mode, and you end up you could play around with AWS without paying anything, but it requires that you are going to be very, very careful so that you don't and run a bill that is big. So yes, I mean, I would say start off with just getting the basics with the practitioner, and then play around to get hands-on experience, be part of these meetups, gain experience, and then you will be able to transition organically.
Okay, thank you. I've been playing around.
Thank you. Sorry, Apiwe. So we can do follow up on your specific case, like in a chat. Let's give others an opportunity also. Sorry, I saw someone who just asked about data engineering. On the floor, do we have any AWS data engineer with us today? Someone experienced with data engineering on AWS? May you please unmute and speak to us about it? We know data is the next big thing. Any data engineer with us, please? We don't have any data engineer on the floor. Okay.
But I mean, let's try handle the question. I just missed it. What does it say?
It says, is it possible to, okay, I have an unrelated metallurgy diploma, currently doing NQF5 for data engineering with Python, SQL, and AWS. Is it possible to get a job at AWS or related? I'm really passionate about learning and more in this industry. So I put a link for the AWS Skills Builder, where you can go look up data engineering related courses also, so that you don't deviate from your already acquired skills. It just means you are going to be implementing them on a new platform, and you having SQL and Python already, you have the skills which are also essential for data engineering. So you can look into that. I'm also starting my data analytics journey. So I'm happy to also connect on this data aspect of things. And I was hoping we have someone who actually does data engineering on AWS.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a two-part question, and the one part is quite straightforward, which is I've done an engineering degree and I'm switching to I'm gonna generally say IT. Will I be able to get a job? And the answer is yes. So I don't know if you are working currently or not. It will be easier to answer you if you're already working in a company, but maybe not directly in an IT division, but that company has a growth path for you to move into. It makes life easier. If not, of course, you can switch, but you must understand that when you switch, you'll switch into a junior role and work your way up. So your degree doesn't pigeonhole you into a career. So especially if you can demonstrate your skill by doing maybe a Python or a data analytics certification combined with cloud practitioner, go out to the market as a junior data analyst, and then take it from there. So you must understand that sometimes because these are new jobs, there's no clear acceptance criteria for their qualification. So your degree shows that you have an engineering brain. Your practitioner shows that you know AWS, and maybe your Python shows that you know a few Python libraries, maybe an analytics one, you understand the concepts. When you put that together, that makes you a junior data analyst, and then you can then go for jobs that are not too high for you. Then that's how you get into the industry, but you have to figure it out yourself. That's my answer to you.
Sorry, guys. We actually have a few minutes left. I think there's someone I'm cutting off. Who's that? I think you wanted to say something earlier. If it's not an answer to the data engineering stuff, I kindly ask, please post it in the chat. We'll make an effort to respond to everyone. You can also post your questions as follow-up to the session in our WhatsApp group. I'm just going to give Regina 30 seconds. I think she's working a lot with data. If you can quickly sum up what you want to say for us, Regina, we need to wrap up so that our meeting just doesn't abruptly end.
Okay, thank you so much for this. Yeah, I just wanted to add on that someone who was saying is doing, okay, yes, moved to another course of data engineering and AWS. I just want to say, yes, it's going to help you, especially when you're doing Python, because in AWS, we have services like Glue, whereby you'll be using some notebooks that will need the experience of Python when you are transforming your data, when you are manipulating your data. So definitely, yes, you need those skills, and AWS has those platforms that you can use your skills. Thank you, Phyllis.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm going to quickly hand over to Thabiso Mohale. We seldom forget about digital maturity. In as much as we want to be technical people, we always get caught up in our existence in organizations. Sorry, Thabiso, you have like maybe 3 minutes to quickly talk to us about this, maybe just a high level, then we can do maybe a dedicated session on that. Thabiso, I think you have, or is it me? We can't hear you. Can you guys hear Thabiso?
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Thank you.
Sorry about that. Some settings, change the settings there. But basically, digital maturity sort of gives you a snapshot of where the business is at. from a digital transformation perspective, right? So, before any technical work can commence, I know you guys have been talking about AWS, DevOps, architecture, enterprise architecture, and all of the different facets of AWS. But business has to know exactly what is
I'm sorry, leadership. Are you by any chance load shedded?
the transformation.
Sorry, Tabiso. I think your network is bad. I think we can't hear you. You are breaking up. I suggest maybe we make this a recording of your presentation, then we'll share it with the group because you are breaking up badly. I'm sorry.
Okay.
But
Okay.
your information is very valuable. It will also help us navigate the politics about our technical work. So please don't give up on us. We will suggest we work around it so that you share this information with us. Okay, as we wrap up,
100%.
yeah. As we wrap up, guys, please don't forget to hit us up with your need to share. We want to, if possible, we want to have this every Thursday. Don't ever think whatever you are doing is too simple. Come to us, ask for an opportunity to gather people around and talk to it. You also learn more when you speak to your work. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us tonight. I'll be sharing our next presentation, which will be more specific topics, more service-oriented, and we're going to have different speakers from all over the world. So thank you so much. We really appreciate having you guys with us. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Phyllis. Yes.
Thanks for hosting us, Phyllis.
Thank you for hosting us, Phyllis. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Goodbye.
I'll share the recording on our site.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.